While he's getting his mic fixed, I wanted to let you know that a short paper describing the India-U.S. nuclear understanding should be available outside. It's only 2 pages long. It may be useful to you.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. We can hear.
I think it needs a new nuclear reactor.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Talk loud.
I just want to ask a question. The issue hasn't been at all discussed, and might be throwing a wet blanket on the whole thing, but in my opinion, it just seems almost impossible that this kind of a deal, whatever it is going to get through the Congress, through the Senate. So are we talking about something that's really a moot point, or can't something really come out of this that would be pretty?
That is a good question. Who'd like to answer it?
Yeah, I'll try. I think it's too early to tell. There is opposition. There was a hearing last month. There will be one in a few days. In the last month, I think the administration was quite surprised by the tough questioning of Republicans on the deal. But the very important thing is this was a promise that the President of the United States made to the Prime Minister of India in full public view under bright lights, and he doesn't know that any of this is going on. He hasn't weighed in yet and picked up the phone to start to call members of Congress who, after all, are fellow Republicans, and to put his leverage and political capital and other things on the line. So it's truly a complicated problem. And if you talk to people who wrote the NNPA, the legislation that has to be changed, they found things that I had never heard of in there that would all have to be changed, and you could hang it up, and where you could trip it, and everything else. But we haven't heard really from the President yet, so I think it's too early to say that it can't be done.
There was another question back there. Yeah, go ahead. And then Prakash.
Al Milliken, Washington Independent Writers. Does anybody see the dominant religion traditions and histories of the U.S. and India playing any role in the cooperation and trust that seem to be the exception rather than the rule in normal international nuclear relations? Is there anything about Hinduism, Christianity, or any other belief system that may help explain what is going on between the U.S. and India that is not happening with the dominant Muslim or Jewish or communist nations in contrast?
If I may,
I wish you would.
if I may answer this question, I think it actually goes for the Jewish one. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am not for others, what am I? If not now, when? I think this sums up the whole thing for this program.
There you go.
I'll accept that. Prakash?
I have a question. Can everybody hear it? For the panel. You see, this particular issue, since the President and the Prime Minister signed, I have been looking at this for the last 2-3 months and interviewed a lot of people in India here as well as. It almost looks to me some basics are really ignored here. What was done in the last pressure, people have told me that it was really kind of the language was decided in the last 12 hours or 10 hours of when the people were getting ready for the dinner or something. And also that means it was really should be looked upon not as a final deal but is a letter of intent or a memorandum of understanding. If I'm doing to buy a company in business, what do? You set some broad terms in the beginning and then you go into the detailed negotiations. And so the reaction of the Congress, which I thought was very, very unexpected but also very horrible in some sense below the standards I would have expected. And so it should be looked upon the perspective, and also it is being sidetracked. The whole entire hearings in the Congress were none of the issues we spoke here, are very few, but only about